Hey everyone! So last week I did a poll on my Instagram story whether you want me to talk about how did I become an aesthetic RN, and if you're interested in knowing some of the tips on how you can get into aesthetic medicine. And 100% voted yes! So that's the reason why I'm here today. But I get conscious if I just look at the camera and pretend that I'm talking to somebody, so I have Mihana here ask questions. I just don't want to feel alone here talking by myself. Okay, so with that said, let's start the ball rolling.
Okay, so how did you become an aesthetic registered nurse?
Very good question, but before I answer that, let me just set the tone for this video, hoping that you can learn a thing or two when it comes to my work ethics and also overall how I tackle life in general. So, bloom where you're planted, okay? It's because I did not become aesthetic RN just because I want to be an aesthetic RN right away. Take note, aesthetic medicine is a relatively new field. The hype just happened within the last few years, but definitely this is the branch of medicine that we are still learning. So with that said, and as probably most of you know already, I'm old. I graduated nursing in 1995, Bachelor of Science in Nursing. So do the math. Huh?
When I was born.
Yeah, when you were born. So therefore, I'm already a nurse since the mid-90s. So with that said, I've been around industries already. And the reason why I say bloom where you're planted is it's not like immediately after graduation you landed a job that you really wanted. Okay, sometimes opportunities would not be there. So back then, pharmaceutical, okay, they were hiring RNs and the compensation was good. So that prodded me. I said, I'm a nurse, I can do anything. Anyway, long story short, that's how I started my career. That's why I have my MBA beside my name too, because for the last 10 years of me being an RN but not really working directly, taking good care of patients, is I work with pharmaceuticals, mainly marketing, management to be exact. And even though the opportunity present itself in a different way, I was still able to at least practice the medical knowledge that I learned in school. However, there was a pressure to live up to the expectations. So I got promoted to the management department. So therefore, I need to be able to improve my skills and also my knowledge. Thus, the Master's in Business Administration. I've been to different multinational pharmaceutical, dermatology, and dialysis companies. Yeah. How did I get now into aesthetic medicine? Call it serendipity. I started working with Dr. Reed, the family doctor, in 2012. Okay, so back then the practice is also very small, just startup, new clinic here in Kapolei, and I just want to work somewhere close to home. So I applied, and Dr. Reed told me, "Oh, you know what, Marie, you're an RN. I cannot afford you, okay?" Because I'm still starting my practice. So that did not stop me, okay? So flat out, I told Dr. Reed, "Let me help you grow your practice, okay? Hire me as an RN, and I'll help you build your practice." 2012, that's when we started also doing a little bit of Botox here and there, mainly for our medical patients, because the reason for them is they don't want to drive downtown, okay? So that's that. 2016 is when we really started on doing more aesthetics because we acquired several machines. Would you believe me and Dr. Reed, we were just going door to door here around the neighborhood of Kapolei and even went to the mall and all these other places that we visited, because back then we don't even know what social media is. So it's only when we moved to this bigger location 2018 that I told Dr. Reed I want to take over the medical spa. So meaning to say, aside from me doing most of the procedures, I manage the medical spa. And yeah, so much boldness there, right? Telling the owner, let me manage it. But let me tell you, just because I've earned the trust of Dr. Reed, that's why he allowed me and he trusted me to manage this place. So I guess that summarized how I got into the aesthetic medicine.
Is it hard to be a nurse injector?
Hell yeah. A lot of my friends are asking me, I want to be an aesthetic RN. And some of you guys also inbox me, I want to be an aesthetic RN. Is it easy? And the big answer is no.
Do you have any tips you can share?
Oh yeah, To answer the question first on how to get into the aesthetic medicine as a nurse, then you have to be a nurse. Okay, so you have to be an RN. That's the first step. And I always tell this to young RNs. If you're an RN, you can do anything. Meaning to say, you just have to have a vision of yourself, what you really want to do. And going back to my previous answer, sometimes opportunities are not there right away. So therefore, you have to earn it. Okay, so build yourself again. Now, going back to the aesthetic medicine, aside from being a nurse, then be prepared with lots of money. You know why? Because it's expensive trainings. Aesthetic medicine, facial anatomy, those are not taught in school, especially if you work in a hospital, you know, and suddenly you feel like you want to transition to aesthetic medicine. It's not easy. So you really have to invest on trainings, and the trainings now are, girl, very pricey. This is not to discourage you, but really it will burn your pocket. Companies can actually do trainings for you, especially if you're a startup and you're gonna bring in their products, especially for fillers or neuromodulators. But the thing is, you need to be able to advance your skills and not only rely on what the companies are teaching you, because at the end of the day, companies are teaching you to use their products. You have to learn to hone your skills. Injecting is not as easy as holding a syringe and inject and poke the face. No. If you are not good in anatomy, which is the basics of aesthetic medicine, then don't hold that needle first. If you don't know how to reverse a complication or vascular occlusion, especially for fillers, I'm talking about fillers, don't hold that syringe first. You have to master the anatomy, because anatomy will give you the confidence. That will be your first step. And you know, the shakiness first time, that's fine, you know. Everyone gets shaky, you know, injecting or even doing things for the first time. But you'll overcome that. So invest on good trainings. And I always tell you, every night I still do research. I still do a lot of readings so that I can constantly update whatever knowledge I have. Once you get so comfortable with the procedure, you should get nervous. That can actually lead you to error if you tend to be complacent. Everyone wants the effect, wow result, but you have to think of the patient safety first. Okay, so what's next? Well, it's either you start your own practice, or you get employed, or you just want to do sideline. Okay, I would suggest, if you are working currently as an RN in a different field, you test it out first. Do part-time, yeah, so that you get more experience, but at the same time you're still stable with your main job. Confidence, you will gain it more as you inject more and more people. Very important of all, you have to have an eye for details. You gotta be artistic. Aesthetic medicine is part science and part art. Okay, do other things that are on the artsy side, because that's when it will help you hone your own creativity. Okay, so that you are not a cookie cutter injector, because each patient, each face is different. So I guess that's it, right?
Yep, that's it.
Because I'm hungry already. All right, book an appointment. Use our online scheduler, aliinani.com. Till my next video.